100 cameras were pointed at him. Not one of them saw what mattered. March 24th, 1958. Memphis, Tennessee. 6:30 in the morning, and the world had already arrived. They lined the street outside 198 South Main. Reporters, photographers, newsreel men from around the world. Colonel Parker had arranged it all. He understood something the Army did not. Elvis entering the military was worth more than Elvis leaving it. The flashbulbs fired before Elvis reached the door. They fired the whole time he was inside. They never stopped. Elvis stepped out of the car at 23 years old, and the crowd moved toward him like water toward a drain. He was polished, composed. He told the reporters it wasn't much different from making a movie. Up early, on set by 6, just no limousine. The press laughed. They wrote it down. They photographed him smiling. Inside the 1,000 building, Army clerks processed him like machinery. Serial number 53310-761. Name. Age. Signature. Major Elbert P. Turner raised his right hand. Elvis raised his. The oath was administered. The cameras caught all of it. The papers were signed. The machine had its moment. Colonel Parker had his headline. The world had its story. What they didn't know, what no reporter asked about, was the woman standing off to the side. Gladys Presley was 46 years old, and she looked like she hadn't slept in a month. Dark circles. A flat, anchored expression. The press photographed her as background, as texture, as the mother element in an otherwise clean composition. They were photographing entirely the wrong thing. Gladys's liver was already failing. Her body was carrying what her face almost refused to show, the knowledge that something was ending. That was the thing about Gladys and Elvis. What passed between them didn't need words. It never had. He called her satinine, a word he made for her, drawn from the smoothness of her skin, spoken in a language only the two of them understood. She called him my boy, and in that room full of strangers and flashing lights, that was still what he was. They had always had a language no one else could enter, a baby talk, a frequency. It ran under every public room they were ever in together. And this public room, the loudest, most documented room of his life so far, was no different. But to understand what Elvis carried into that building, you have to go back further. Back to Tupelo. Back to January 8th, 1935. He was born with a brother. The brother was already gone. Jesse Garin Presley came into the world 30 minutes before Elvis. He did not take a breath. He was buried in a shoebox in the Mississippi ground. At Priceville Memorial Gardens in Tupelo, there is a grave with no name on the headstone. Just ground, just absence. Elvis grew up knowing that someone who looked exactly like him, who would have sounded exactly like him, was somewhere in that ground without a name. He never talked about Jesse, not in public. But Jesse was the emotional grammar of everything that followed, the original template for carrying grief alone. What does a boy learn when his first lesson is? That grief has no marker, no name, no bottom. He learns to carry it quietly. He learns to perform in rooms while something goes unsaid inside him. He had been practicing for this room his entire life. In the chaos of the induction, the shouting, the cameras, the official business of the United States Army, Elvis moved toward Gladys. He leaned close to her. His back was to the press. His face was near hers. And he said something. No reporter heard it. No microphone reached it. Whatever passed between them lives in the only place documentation cannot go. We do not know what he said. This is not a story that pretends to know. But a son was speaking to his mother, while 100 cameras pointed elsewhere. And whatever the words were, they were the only true record of that morning. Every other document, every photograph, every newsreel frame, every signature on every paper was a record of the wrong moment. The flashbulbs fired. The papers were filed. And the only thing that actually happened was the thing no equipment in that room could catch. 143 days later, Fort Hood, Texas, August 12, 1958. The Army gave Elvis emergency leave. He flew home to Memphis that night. He went to her. He sat with her. He returned to Graceland to rest, because she was resting too, and they told him she would be all right. In the early hours of August 14, 1958, Gladys Love Presley died. She was 46 years old. Elvis stood at the grave and cried out, not quietly, not composed, not with any of the stillness the cameras had trained him to perform. "Oh God, everything I have is gone. She's all I ever lived for. She was always my best girl." 36 days later, the army sent him to Germany. The spectacle continued. New datelines, new photographs, new headlines. The machine never stopped. But what the machine had never photographed was already gone. The woman standing off to the side, with dark circles and a flat expression. Who called him my boy in a language no one else could hear? Who left this world before anyone thought to ask what her son had whispered to her in that room at 198 South Main? On a March morning, when 100 cameras were aimed at him, and every single one of them missed it.